It's a block party.
Alright, looks like we started off. Let's see what this chest holds. I wasn't able to see it, did you?
No.
Sounded like a hard piece though.
Yeah, I think so. So nothing so far. And walking over here to fall down into the little bush hole. And we're going to see here in a second what we're going to have, what types of strats these runners are going to have to use. And it's going to be, oh, there we go, Canaberna.
Seems like you got your wish.
Yeah, I guess so. So reason why Berna is really interesting for me is when they decide to start farming, because you have to be really careful, with your magic use. There is a little bit in the sewer later, and right here in the uncle chest. Looks like Schaaa got a bomb actually from it, so that's really good. I think got a single rupee and a bomb drop, so that's really nice for Schaaa. Hopefully Melphys will farm some of those green guards.
Yeah, I think magic consumption is really the big problem with the blue cane. It's so easy to mess up for like a second or two and then you run out of magic, and it's kind of difficult to refill if you don't know which spots hold the magic refill.
Yeah, and then you have to really conserve for these blue guards. Early half magic would be nice, but we do get 50 rupees, so that's getting closer to bottle vendor money early. So that's always a nice thing to see while you're in the escape. Nice use by Schaaa right there, trying to maybe farm some more bombs using some pots. I don't think he's going to really go out of his way to use any magic to farm, but when there's pots nearby to farm off of the rats or guards or whatnot.
Yeah, also for this room where the blue guard is next to the chest, I would always open the chest first in case there's another weapon in it that might make it easier to kill the guard.
Definitely.
And to also conserve a bit of magic.
Yeah, I think at this point, speaking of magic conservation, Melphys is going to have to pick up some pots for when he goes to the back. If they don't find another weapon for killing the rat. But, oh, interesting. Schaaa actually might have to do the same now. I thought Schaaa was going to hold on to it for later, but just wants to get the guard out of the way. And then they're both going to use 2 pots to kill the big chain guard.
I think the magic is still enough to kill the rat. But
yeah, I think they have to get on the first hit, I think.
Yeah, they can't do any additional farming though. But Shaa's looking good with 2 bombs already, so that makes his trip to Kakariko a little bit better, I guess.
Yeah, maybe with getting another lucky bomb drop here later, you could opt to buy bombs before going to the chicken coop. But if they don't find any more, maybe they'll both decide to route down and just use some extra money. But he could bank on the well or the blind set having something.
Yeah, I would definitely do that before buying additional bombs, just to save that extra trip through the town.
Yeah, it definitely does. It does save a non-trivial amount of time. But Schaaa just has a little tiny lead coming out of there. Not too big of a deal. Just has the advantage of the extra bomb. Both of them making pretty good time here with that blue cane start. Not the fastest start in general. All right, and hopefully, as they're getting back here, they don't get trolled by the rat placement. That can always be a little bit of a jerk thing. And yeah, Shaa's farming up some more magic. Melphys looks like, oh no, it was gonna skip those, but does remember that there is one there.
I think it's a good idea to fill up on magic, even if it's just a little.
And also, we already found the map in Zelda's chest, so we know that everything else in the rest of the escape and the sanctuary is going to be an item drop. So that's good knowledge to have as well.
Schaaa getting another bomb from the red that stood close to the other one. That's actually really lucky.
Yeah, that's incredibly lucky. So now can just decide, okay, I can route in both the well and Blind's Hut early, and can just worry about bombs after. That's super helpful. And we got 20 rupees. We got a hook shot and more bombs. So that's going to be really nice for Melphys, actually. That'll kind of even up the RNG a little bit.
Also, I think the hookshot early is a really good item, just for movement.
And specifically against those Moldorms, definitely better than having to use the blue cane or bombs.
Yeah, I agree. So, do you think these runners will check the lumberjack cave?
You know, actually, with their loadout, it will be kind of interesting. They didn't really get all that much, so kind of seeing that it wasn't a very front-loaded escape, they might opt to do that. There's been kind of a interesting, I'd say 50-50 metagame on that, where people will do that route to go up and get that information, just to have that knowledge, or to go down. Looks like Schaaa is going to opt to not check it, and Melphys is going to go up and check it, I believe. So we're going to get a little bit of a route divergence based on how they're routing right now.
Yeah, I think both of these decisions are correct, I'd say. Because on Shaa's side, you don't want to check an item which you can't even get at the moment, and when you pick up the boots, you gotta go to Bonk Rocks like right after anyways, so you can just dash up and check the cave. But having that knowledge early on is also kind of a good thing. Might give you that extra edge over your opponent.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right, let's see what's in Lumberjack. Oh, that's half magic in the Lumberjack cave. Well, that's actually nice. If this is an Aghanim required seed, they will. That'll be really, really nice to know, because maybe you can just take a stop off over there and get half magic. Don't know if either of these runners will find it worth it, but it's good knowledge to have on Melphys' side.
I mean, if you're kind of in the area anyways, let's say for Bumper Cave or something, you might as well pick it up. It makes your life so much easier.
And just something interesting on Shaa's side, I don't think... Oh, as we got our first sword right there in Blind's Hut. I think Schaaa... I don't know, I didn't hear it on his side, but he may not have gotten that 50 out there. But he's gotten some big 20s and a big heart piece, so that is nice at least.
And he gets another big 20, so he's fine for his time being in Kakariko.
Yeah, easily. Got enough to buy more bombs, got enough for Bottle Vendor. Easy peasy. But getting that early sword is nice, though.
And Melphys is making good use of his hookshot already, just like hooking himself to the trees, just to gain these few extra frames.
Yeah, there's places early, like in Eastern Palace, that hookshot saves a lot of time. Oh, we get some power gloves in the back of the well. And let's see if there's anything else in the well. Some extra bombs, so probably won't have to buy anymore.
And looks like we got our first map check, with Desert being the green pennant and the other two dungeons being regular crystals. And the bottle vendor actually holds the mirror, so that's a nice item to have early on.
I guess, you know, definitely, I think he bought the mirror on the wall and wanted to sell it for a better price to someone else. But that's interesting. That's actually, you can route in, you know, get that early crystal sequence break, because there's no lantern, but I'm sure both these runners can do the sequence break with the old man in the dark. Oh, and some flippers. We've got some early Zora access as well with all of those flipper checks.
And let's see what our runners decide to do after checking the race game. I'm kind of curious to see.
Yeah, we could see some really early route divergence with what they've gotten. Escape didn't give much, but the rest of it is pretty good. And now that I'm thinking about it right now, what you could do is you could route up to Hera without the hammer. After you're done with it, save and quit and hookshot across to the other side of Death Mountain.
Yeah, definitely. I think Death Mountain looks really, I don't know what it's called, like interesting for the runners at this point.
Mm-hmm. Shaa's gonna opt to not do that and just go to the south route instead, just to stay in logic.
And that's kind of like the traditional play, so I think that's good as well. He looks like he might go over to Agnes Cave on my side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, he doesn't. Alright.
Alright, again, using the hook shot to make one trip into here instead of having to walk out and in. It does save quite a few seconds to do that, so great job on Schaaa. Just a hard piece in there. Let's see what's the soggy item today.
It's just a wet rupee, a big 20. Also kind of interesting that he skipped out on the, what was it, the 50 bucks earlier and decided to go for the 20 now.
Yeah, that was a very interesting decision. You don't normally early game, since you're trying to farm up enough for, you know, with Dark World access with pod money or digging in money, or if you want to route an early Zora, you want all the money you can get.
Yeah, I agree, but I kind of can understand it as well. He might have thought just wait if Kakariko holds any money, and if it doesn't, he decided to pick up more.
Oh my goodness, we've got a bow and a hammer inside of Mini Moldoran Cave. That is a lot of early access to not just the, you know, easy access to the rest of Death Mountain, but that's early Eastern Palace completion.
Yeah, if he's able to do the dark rooms, which I really think he is.
Wow, if we were going to see some divergence before, I'd say it's much higher chance now with that bow placement. Oh, the stun prize is 1 bomb as well. That's really good, and Melphys taking good use of that already.
Alright, let's see, Schaaa, where do you go now?
Oh, this looks like an Eastern play?
Yeah, it definitely looks like.
Alright, so I guess going for the item density. Might be coming down here to, with flippers. Gonna do flippers checks first.
And we have a bottle of green goo on the Lake Hylia Island. So that might be interesting to see if our runners need to get that later to get to the sick kit.
Yeah, with the Mire and flippers, as soon as they get Dark World access, that could be their first bottle, and what the logic is trying to tell them. So they could go out of their way to get that. We got an ether medallion at the hobo. Apparently, he was a magical wizard that was down on his luck.
I think we're going to Eastern now.
Yeah, totally makes sense. I mean, with only 127 rupees, totally understand the skipping over of the Waterfall of Wishing and the Zora area right now.
Yeah, that's true. He could have also started at the Sanctuary and did the Houlihan room, and then went on to Eastern, just to get some extra money. But maybe he does like the Rupee room in Eastern Palace, and collect some blue rupees over there. I think that would be a smart idea.
Wow, and that's the Cane of Samaria. apparently Sarsaparilla was holding on some really epic equipment back there. So it's interesting that without the Moon Pearl, they don't really have access to Dark World yet, but they have a lot of things open to them when they do eventually get that Pearl. I think the only thing that would help them even have more access would be like a fire rod, probably.
Yeah, that's true. I think we can do most of the stuff already. Maybe mids is a big item.
Mm-hmm.
I think these runners also would like to see some boots to get better access to everything. Just for some extra speed. And looks like Melphys is gonna check the Waterfall of Wishing, which has the Moon Pearl. Yeah, so I don't know.
Oh my.
Let's see where he goes next. I'm really curious to see now. Because he has the Dark World access.
I couldn't agree more. I think that now the choices are endless for Melphys. Because I mean, the Cadence Samaria is nice, but with the Mire can always just do the pod combo and just get it from there anyway.
Did you see what I just saw there?
I did not. I missed that. What was on there?
That was Titan Smiths on the Zora ledge.
Oh, oh my goodness. That's all of Dark Death Mountain now available as well. They can literally do one loop of Dark Death Mountain, including possibly opening up the portal. Yeah, Melphys, you unfortunately don't have 500 rupees, buddy.
I think he's a bit overwhelmed by what's going on at this point, so he just forgot that he doesn't have enough money.
Okay, all right, now this is gonna be interesting. All right, so we get 10 bombs. We got the Uncle Bomb drop in the big chest. And it looks like Schaaa either has found 2 items and is banking on the last one, or has found all 3. I didn't notice. I know he found 2.
I think he found all 3 already, because he's still missing the compass and the map when he opened his menu.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, so definitely gonna just do these dark rooms.
Yeah, that's a quick Eastern Palace. You really like to see that as a runner.
Oh, but Schaaa taking a death right there by, I couldn't tell if it was the Igor or one of the little enemies in there, but oh man, that's really unfortunate. It's gonna dip out for now.
Yeah, I think it's a good decision to just come back later. I mean, it's just a crystal. He's not missing any items, so you might as well just do it when he's in pod. If it's not a pendant, and if he never visits pod, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Shaa's heading up to Death Mountain without the Moon Pearl and without the Titan Smiths, so that's gonna be an extra trip up there at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to be a time save for Melphys whenever he does decide to do the trip up there. Melphys doing an interesting thing, opting not to go down to the portal to use Mire to enter pod, or at least, set up the portal before pod, and then just go into Eastern first. Just going to opt to do this, see if he maybe gets like a lantern or something else before going into pod maybe. And also Schaaa opted to check the Lumberjack Cave since he was going to go up to Death Mountain anyway and sees that half magic on there.
And I think none of these runners will go and pick that up. Because that would mean they had to go and kill Aga just to get that half magic. And that wastes a lot of time.
Yeah, I don't think the half magic, unless you, took like a death to like Trinex because you ran out of magic or something, would be worth it at that point.
I think both of these runners are good enough to do Trinex and other, I'd say, difficult bosses without half magic.
Alright, and I guess the old man today just providing a lot of love for leading him back to his abode.
Schaaa has to be careful right now. He's down to 1 heart, and these cabbages, they can be mean sometimes.
Yeah, you don't want to eat these cabbages. They're not part of your nutritional food pyramid. All right, but does get past it, thankfully. And we'll see what's on Spectacle Rock Cave right now. Just a 5 rupee on the top of it. And just a big 20 inside. All right, and Schaaa. Oh, okay. Had to be a little bit careful right there with that dead rock. That guy was trying to play goalkeeper a bit, but does get inside of Tower of Hera, safe and sound.
That dead rock always gets in your way. That's something I noticed recently. Also, it looks like Melphys decides to go for the right side of Eastern Palace, although he has all the items. So that's a little bit of mistracking on his end, I guess.
Yeah. All right, and Schaaa is opting to Death Warp right here. So I was wondering if he was going to do it down below when he saw the map, but opting just to do it and then back test. Oh, and it's Fire Rod locks, so there you go. I guess just gonna leave anyway.
I think Death Warping at this point is not a bad decision, just to refill your health a little bit. Because Deathmon is a scary place with just 1 heart.
We got the large bomb capacity upgrade on the floating island. They're not going to go out of their way for that. And we get, unfortunately, the Walk of Shame through Spiral Cave, but getting the hook shot out to help with the enemies. And unfortunately, Melphys had to reset that room. I think lost track of where the Igor was.
I think it's good, I'd say game wisdom or game knowledge to just know when to reset the room.
Oh, he saw the other Igor. Okay, he did get to the door. Is he up? Okay, he's good. Nice job by Melphys getting through that room. Yeah, just, being patient, giving himself another chance at the room. It's better to just reset at that point when you don't have the lantern. All right. Oh man, Schaaa getting a little bodied by these mini Moldorms right now, but does get a nice fairy drop.
Yeah, and he also finds the Blue Man and Quake. And the Red Maid as well.
Wow, that was a very healthy cave for safety. As Melphys getting down Armos Knights right now, finds that compass and gets the first crystal at just under 24 minutes.
It looks like Schaaa also got the boots. I missed that on my end.
Oh, was that maybe in the other one in the bottom of Paradox Cave?
Maybe, I don't know. I couldn't see 2 of these chests.
Yeah, but that's huge for Schaaa. And hopefully Melphys heads up there soon.
Let's hope he just uses these boots to get to his Moonpearl faster. Looks like he's going to Agonas first, so that's Zora Ledge, and the Waterfall of Wishing might be his last locations. And on Melphys' side we get another map check, so it's Scarwoods and Thieves Town being pendants, and Pod and Ice Palace being the 5 and 6 bonus crystals, so not my favorite layout, I'd say.
Yeah, depending on when they find Bombos or Fire Rod, that could be an early Pyramid Fairy, but for right now they're still lacking that. Pod is clearable if you know the dark rooms, but we still have to find that Lantern. At this point, Lantern could kind of be in a lot of places since they got such early access. Fortunately, not much in the Hype Cave today. It's probably about 1 out of 10 hype.
I kind of like what Schaaa is doing. He's farming rupees on his way to Agnes Cave, just in case that he doesn't find progression over there. So he can just check the Waterfall of Wishing and Zora within one swoop.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And big thing is if Zora does have progression, Melphys is going to have no reason to go back there after already finding the Tines, Bits, and Pearls in that location.
And he won't be going there for a long time, unless he checks Catfish. But yeah, having the mirror when going through the Dark World overworld, that's always nice. So you can just route this K45 in together, which has the Fire Rod in this case. So that feels good.
Yeah, exactly. And there's that early Pyramid Fairy access I was talking about. They can get that probably by like the 40-minute mark or something like that if they really wanted to route that way. I doubt they will, because going into Ice Palace with this little hearts is probably a little bit spooky.
And they still got that green bottle of green goo right next door of Ice Palace, so they might want to pick that up before going into that.
Alright, cool. Schaaa is going to be heading over there and grabbing the Pearl and the Tines Mitts, and we'll get that information about Zora. I don't know if you saw, but there was Mushroom in Agnes Cave.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm curious if he keeps it to do the fake powder glitch, or if he just decides to turn it in soon.
Mm-hmm.
I'd imagine he would just keep it for a while.
All right, and we've got a Smith's rotation from Melphys, getting hammer pegs also along the way. Let's see if he opts for purple chest. Some people do opt to leave it there until later when they decide to route back down towards Swamp Palace, because since he's up here, might want to do like a Skullwoods dip with that Fire Rod and Thieves Town play. Even though they're both pendants, which doesn't seem very appetizing right now.
Yeah, I think Melphys has a discussion going on in his head right now, whether to check these dungeons or not. And Schaaa only got 300 rupees from Zora, so there's nothing there.
It's like a minor life lesson. 60% investment is not that bad.
Schaaa decides to go into the Dark World from the other side. I think
this makes me think might do that Skullwoods and Thieves Town dip if going this way.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Also, might as well route in Northern Dark World as well. It looks like he doesn't check Skywoods at this point.
We're about to get a high five right here from the runners, even though they went completely different routes into the Village of Outcasts. And right before Thieves Town, getting that extra heart container is always nice. Even though they have red mail, so stuff will not be hurting nearly as much as it normally would.
Yeah, but it's only Schaaa that has red mail, because Melphys didn't go up to Death Mountain yet. And he's also still missing the boots, so that's... So Schaaa might be able to, you know, save some time here and there with just having the boots.
Okay, we are getting a pen in Thieves Town dip from Melphys. Let's see if he opts to do the full dungeon or just the first 4 chests. That's been kind of a... It's been something that as the tournament has developed, it's been becoming more and more of a common strategy to just check the first 4 and dip out when it's pendant. I've seen it burn in some races, and in other ones it hasn't mattered and actually has been a time save, but it is definitely a massive risk.
I think that's why pennant TT is like the worst pennant in this game, especially if it's not the green pennant. I mean, if it's the green pennant, I would do it every time, I guess.
That was a nice synced pot pickup right there. But this is where Shaa's making up all that time with the boots.
It looks
Also
like both of them are deciding to complete the dungeon, or at least get further into it.
Mm-hmm. And that early small key does indicate usually that the big chest will have an item, but sometimes it's a bit debated. Oh man, those starfish were bodying Schaaa a little bit right there along the way in the hellway. But you know, without having the boots in this part, Melphys is doing a pretty good job, and having, you know, just the green mail.
Yeah, I have to agree. And also we find another bottle in the Thieves Town bombable floor room, so they actually don't need to pick that green go up. That's laying right beside Ice Palace. They might even mirror after doing Thieves Town just to get Sick Kid out of the way.
Mm-hmm. That'd be very efficient routing wise. Because, you know, after you do this kind of like section, there's not much else other than like dipping back into Skullwoods at this point. So I don't know when else, or activating a flute. So it's, you know, and we don't know when the flute's gonna happen. So we might as well just get it out of the way now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Sick Kid has it. Who knows?
Yeah.
It looks like the big chest actually has an item.
Yep, that's correct. They just got the map in Blind's chests, and they got one earlier. Oh, that's the Bombos medallions. They got all the medallions in the game. So Misery Mire and Turtle Rock access will not be an issue whenever they decide to route up there.
And as Chad is mentioning, you really see the value of boots in dungeons like Thieves Town, where you have like long corridors, where you can just dash through. Makes it so much faster.
Yeah, definitely. Shaa's into phase 3 right now of the Blind fight, and gets it right before Blind teleports back up and gets in a more awkward position for the fighter swords. Good job. Gets 3 bombs, and that is going to be the first completion of a dungeon for Schaaa.
Yeah, so it's kind of curious to see if we need bombos for any of the 2 medallion dungeons. So the runners might feel ahead if they actually see bombos in one of these.
And Melphys using a good job of the Cane of Burner right there. After taking that hit on blind, just bodied 3 damage worth of hearts. You know, Green Mill kind of hurts on that fight.
Schaaa picking up his red boomerang from the digging game, whereas Melphys is actually doing what I said earlier. He mirrored right after Thieves Town, only to get a big 20 from the sick kit.
Yeah, but nice to get that out of the way. So won't have to really worry about here. Let's see if he go pick up the purple chest if he decides he's gonna. Oh, he's gonna save and quit. Okay, so this makes me think it's gonna be a Death Mountain play. Oh no, it's not. Okay. Oh, maybe just opting to skip the purple chest? That's a really interesting decision. That's I'd say that's kind of relatively a decent sized gamble, since you were already going to be over here to it looks like making a Swamp Palace play possibly. It's probably good to just get the purple chest since you're going to be right here, but it's going to opt to not do that, or it's just taking the long way around maybe.
Maybe he just forgot. I mean, this happens, especially if you're 3-2 fighting for your tournament life. You got all of the map open for you with all these items. So, might as well just be that. And it looks like Schaaa is picking it up on the other side.
Okay, so we are gonna get to find out what this is going on, and nice use of the hook shot and dash strats right there from Schaaa, just to speed up, you know, running with the purple chest.
Yeah, they look actually pretty nice.
I don't know if I've really ever seen that strat before right there, where you like intentionally go to your left, and so you can dash all the way down to south of Grove Cave. That was a nice little strat.
Yeah, I definitely have not seen that yet. So that's something to write down in my book.
Oh, that's powder in the first item possible chest in Swamp Palace. That's a nice safety for later, especially if they don't get a bunch of heart containers later for the dungeons, and for how long, you know, Melphys puts off Death Mountain. And Shaw's gonna be routing up and getting his big old bag of nothing in Hype Cave.
I'm actually surprised that Schaaa didn't do the fake powder glitch, or maybe I just missed it. But I'm pretty sure he didn't do it. But then again, he also skipped out on Sick Kit. So he might do these two things when he activates his flute later on.
You know, I just want to mention something because it's kind of crazy since we're not even 40 minutes into the seed yet, but we are only a theoretical four items away from go mode, and if you take the lamp away from there, if you're okay with dark rooms, only 3.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of progressive items already, like everything you can ask for at this point. I think on the dark side of the coin, I guess, makes you wonder if there's gonna be a throw with the ice rod, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Being at a bad location that you don't check for a long time.
Melphys having a little bit of trouble with getting the boomerang over on that angle. It's a bit finicky. but just decides to run around and hit it from the bottom side. It's just a little bit easier. But it is going to do a left side check first. So some people decide they want to do the back first to see how many items are left on the left side. But at this point, this early, and he hasn't gotten some of the safeties and whatnot that Schaaa has, it's probably better to just go left side first.
It looks like Schaaa is doing the exact same play with dipping into Swamp, clearing that. Let's see if he decides to skip on left side, or if he gets these items as well. And once again, I think both decisions are correct, depending on what is going on in your mind at this point.
I think with this much progression already, there's not many wrong plays. Just because there's so much open to them. It's all a personal preference of the runner, like what they value is like a high value play in their minds.
I personally think if you have this much progression already in your pocket, you might as well just go for an efficient, clear run and try to do things as fast as possible and hope that you find the rest of the items along the way, instead of gambling, skipping out on stuff.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you on that. Especially this early. Only 41 minutes in. It's like there's a bunch of rando race left here. And we just got a piece of heart and a full container on the left side. So, not the worth as far as progression, but as far as Melphys is concerned, getting that extra heart container right now is really nice.
He really needs to go up Death Mountain at this point, get his red mail, his boots, and make his life a lot easier. He can even clear Hera, which Schaaa was not able to earlier because he has a fire source.
Yep, exactly.
So I think Death Mountain really looks interesting for Melphys after Swamp.
Yeah, it's very possible Lamp could be in Tower of Hera since Fire Rod was early accessible. All right, let's gonna get a check of these back two chests here. We've got a map, and did not see what was in that other chest.
Me neither. Maybe we can see. Oh, it was a compass. I saw it on the restream.
The double dungeon item in that room. I always appreciate that. There's some Zora money.
Oh yeah, Melphys didn't check it yet.
Hmm.
Yeah, Shaa's also going to the left side of Swamp and pick up his heart piece and his full heart container. So I don't know. It's weird, like on one side you really want to check the left side to get it off your mind, but on the other side, if it doesn't hold anything good, you kind of feel bad about doing it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're gonna get some awesome menu strats here for the hammer from Melphys' side. Fortunately, this is very slow. Oh, I was gonna try for a double. Oh, but the puff got taken back as the rest of the puffs were rotating. It'll be interesting to see if Melphys decides to use maybe like Fire Rod strats on the back half to make it go a little bit faster, or we'll just opt for 8 sword swings or hammer strats. Looks like Fire Rod.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the best decision at this point. Also, he needs to be careful. If he goes above the Shadow of Argus, he gets damaged every time. So you gotta dodge to the side or below when he's falling down.
Alright, there we go.
Gets it done. And gets some bombs. Alright, so I think Melphys will head up to Death Mountain. What do you think?
I mean, it's... Man, I guess if he wanted to play pretty risky, he could go pod right now. But, I mean, with the amount of density that he has with Titans Mitts and... You know, and he's going to get Quake Medallion up there. I'd see... oh, maybe routing over to grab that bottle of green goo. But yeah, I think Death Mountain would seem like the most logical play at this point for Melphys.
Though this is not a bad play either, I think. He could just grab the bottle and then go immediately into ice, just to make it, you know, a little bit more efficient in routing.
Yeah, definitely. And looks like, you know, it looks like with powder too, I think Melphys will probably feel a little bit, you know, less wary about dying in there, because there's plenty of anti-fairies to powder.
And also cool step, with picking up the green goo, you can just use bombos on the ice and then switch over to Fire Rod for the last phase. So Fighter Sword should not be a problem.
We're getting some hammer strats on Schaaa's side, so it's nice to see these different strategies that you can do. And very nice job from Schaaa. Gonna pick up his explosives and get his first crystal. So that is the difference right now. You know, other than the Death Mountain route that Schaaa did earlier, Melphys was able to complete Eastern Palace, whereas Schaaa had an issue with the Dark. Oh, and there's the flute in the first chest of Ice Palace. Excuse me. So that's a huge find, and it looks like Schaaa is opting to go up towards. This might be a pod play, or at least a pyramid ledge check.
So that means we're only like an ice rod and a lamp away from no mode, aren't we?
And a sword upgrade.
Oh yeah, and a sword. I always forget about that.
Yeah, and 2 of those things could literally be anywhere, so that's always fun.
I mean, fun for us, not for the runners.
Yeah, we need to really describe what fun is in this situation. It's very relative.
Yeah, I just hope the flute will drive Melphys up to Death Mountain at this point. Because he's losing some precious time with not having the boots.
Nice first try Ice Palace bomb jump from Melphys right there. Interesting he's still going for that, considering they have the cane and they're probably going to full clear it anyway. But, you know, probably in the way that Melphys is used to routing the dungeon.
Yeah. I'm kind of on Melphys' side right there. I do it as well every time I go into ice. It's just a habit. And Schaaa turned in the mushroom and only got a big 20, I believe, was it?
Yeah, that's correct.
So what do you think Shaa's gonna go after checking Catfish? Is he gonna go to ice as well, or maybe dip into pod and do Eastern?
That's a great question. You know, now with that fire source and the Titans Bits could always go back up towards Death Mountain. I think that either one of those plays is good.
I think he hasn't checked King's Tomb yet, has he? I thought he was gonna do that.
Did he have Titan's Bits? No, he didn't have Titan's Bits at that point.
No,
that
he
was before
just
he went there. Yeah.
Yeah, he just checked Bonk Rocks and then save and quit. But he's getting the bad check now, and probably the sick kit after that. Unless he forgot about sick kit.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing this time, but hopefully he remembers it just for, you know, his sake and peace of mind.
And the Angry Bat only has an arrow capacity upgrade today, so not too much over there.
Yeah, just noting also that Melphys decided to do the iced tea room last, so got the big key last, so I think still has an item left. And it's either going to be on Colster in that big chest. And I wonder if Schaaa is making the going this route, making the Skull Woods play.
And Melphys also didn't check this chest right here. And it has to do the bomb jump. I didn't see if he actually attempted it.
Yeah, hopefully that's not still an item. You did get an item in that big chest, a heart container. So I think we'll see what Cold Stare has. He's probably just gonna bank on at the very least not having anything.
I mean, he will most definitely not go back for it, even if it is an item.
All right, we're gonna see some machine gun fire rod strats most likely from. Oh, Schaaa getting grabbed. Unfortunately, going through that Gibdo room. That's gonna waste a decent amount of time right there. All right, looks like just one more fire rod shot, two more fire rod shots for that last Cold Stare Eye. Oh, and there's the lamp in Skull Woods.
And the Master's not on the other side.
Okay.
So we're just an ice rod away from no mode at this point.
Yep. And that ice rod, as it always can be literally anywhere except for Trinex. So that's always fun. I mean, that's at this point, if you're Melphys, man, like when do you go to Death Mountain? Like you're getting access to literally everything else.
I would be really surprised if he doesn't go up there, or at least into Port and Eastern, maybe. I mean, these are like the next two plays I kind of want to see.
All right, we are getting that graveyard ledge check from Shaw's side right now. And in V29, I have seen this cave be a lot more progression-based. Just a piece of heart this time. But that was kind of expected with only having one item left for no mode for us commentators.
So what do you think the ice rod is?
Personally, based on where I've been kind of seeing stuff, I've got a feeling it's going to be in Mire. I think Ice Palace is locking it. Oh, it's either going to be in the Mire Shed. It's going to be one of those five. Checkerboard Cave, Mire Shed, or Mire itself.
Alright, so I'm gonna go with Turtle Rock, because I've seen that a lot recently.
That is cruel and unusual, man.
I mean, I hope for these runners that they will pick it up, you know, while going through pod. Or maybe Tower of Hera and don't have to dip into TR with a bad feeling.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to get that Mire play right now from Melphys. If this is Quake, that's a bit of a problem for him, because that's up in Death Mountain. But if it's the other two, might opt to go in there. And with Master Sword, it's a little bit easier to deal with. Oh, it is Quake.
Yeah, but that's a good thing, I think, because it will drive him up to Death Mountain.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
I just hope he's not going into Desert after checking this.
Well, it is the green pennant, so I wouldn't blame him for taking a dip in here.
And who knows, maybe the Ice Rod is in there, so that might work out pretty good for him. And gets a little mirror bong on the edge of the checkerboard cave.
There was one time I was doing a seed and I got caught in there, and it had the weirdest like jump down animation. It was like I was on a cliff in Death Mountain or something. It was super weird. And it just threw me onto that platform. I was like, oh, that's neat.
I've seen cases where you get a mirror bomb right there and then you just kind of fall down and you end up in desert and have to flute there again and do all that stuff again.
Oh no. Oh, that feels bad, man.
Yeah, so you always have to learn your mirror spots so that that stuff doesn't happen.
This is a little bit of an errant bomb thrower right there, but is gonna go get the mushroom inside of Agnes Cave, and it's gonna walk out and probably reflute. No, it's probably gonna take the portal because he left the portal there.
I'm really surprised he didn't go up Death Mountain yet. Maybe he just wants to get it done in one go. So like, you know, hoping to find the lamp and the ice rod before going up there.
I mean, if he finds Ice Rod in Desert, that is going to be like the play. Oh, never mind. He's not going there. Okay, he's going to Death Mountain instead.
Schaa's having a bit of trouble with the Amos Knights.
Yeah, once Armos Knights gets a little off script, it gets a bit bonkers. But does get it down and gets his second crystal. As we are about to crest the 1 hour mark here pretty shortly.
Yeah, so I think at this point Melphys is only ahead one Ice Palace play, whereas Schaaa has completed, I would say, about 90% of the overworld checks. So he doesn't have to recheck these locations just for the Ice Rod, which Melphys may do in the near future. We will see.
Yeah. The one thing though for Melphys is having that crystal lead of something like Ice Palace that is going to be possibly required to not go mode. I mean, we don't know yet because we don't know where the other sword upgrades are and if Flute's going to be the last item. But you know, Melphys is going to be able to do all of this in one trip, minus the TR, you know, if he decides to not do that.
Also interesting that both of these players will soon have one of the bonus crystals, but it's the exact opposite one that the other guy has. So
Yeah, exactly.
But I like that Schaaa actually put up the mirror portal that you were talking about earlier in front of pod, so he can just hop into it and do pod after he did Eastern.
Mm-hmm. Getting another small key on the side of Schaaa. Is getting hammer out to route in. It's probably going to bonk to get back across as Melphys is getting the coffee break right here in the tile room because this is required to get the big key.
I think he's not too happy about doing the tile room at this point, because if it's required, you don't feel bad about doing it. If it's not required and the basement has an item, you always have a bad feeling when sitting at these blue pegs and just waiting just to get like a big 20 or something.
You have to cue like the Jeopardy music or something while you're waiting there. That one Stalfos getting in the way a little bit, but that's totally fine. All right, Shaa's going into the back of pod right now. With that lantern's going to make this a lot easier, and is going to check and see. He gets a shield, and should be another small key. So that means I believe, based on the keys he's gotten, the Harmless Hellway should also have a key. So the rest of the stuff will be on Helmasaur, King, and the Dark Maze side. Unless maybe there is I just came across one where there was actually 5 keys in the front. It's very unlikely, so that it kind of throws off your item counting a little bit.
Melphys got that Tower of Hera bomb jump, which is kind of difficult, especially if you don't have boots.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting. Most people in that situation probably just decide to hook shot. Just it's a little safer. Because if you fall 2 floors, that feels bad every time.
Yeah, that really hurts. I gotta agree. It looks like there was nothing in Tower of Hera yet.
And neither in pod as well.
So we're still on the hunt for the ice rock at this point, and possibly, or maybe another sword to make our runner's life easier.
Okay, I believe that means that Helmasaur King has the last item. And Melphys gets his 4th crystal right now. And is probably going to route straight over to East Death Mountain after this.
Yeah, picking up his boots and his red mail, Quake, all these good items. And I just noticed Melphys has the silver arrows. Do you know where he picked these up?
That is a good question. That might have actually been in Hera. But I did not notice it because I was looking at Shaa's side.
Yeah, so Chet is saying it was in Mire Shed. Actually,
Mire Shed.
I think that's our tracker for tonight, which is doing a fantastic job. So yeah, you guys should give him a follow at some point. Giving us all the information we miss, being a huge help.
All right, it was Ether on Turtle Rock. Not that it really mattered, but Melphys is gonna opt to open that up right now. Is he gonna go in? Oh my goodness.
Did he even check the Yorkshire Cave?
No, he's just going in.
All right. That's kind of a big gamble, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you also don't have the lamp, and you know that, maybe you will have difficulties with the room in the back. And he also didn't check Paradox Cave or anything.
Yeah, no, he didn't check anything. He just literally came here to open up the portal and just saw it was Ether and went in. Like, just just going crazy. But man, if Ice Rod is in here though, that is gonna be like
That's gonna
the
be
most
really
insane
huge.
play.
I mean, props to him at this point. I would not be brave enough to do that.
Alright, so we use Can of Burner strats right here. Oh! Yeah, unfortunately Schaaa getting a little bit bodied. The Fighter Sword I don't think does any damage, so it's gonna opt for arrows instead.
And Melphys decides to leave after the first couple of chests. So that's kind of interesting.
We got a fire shield on Shaw's side from Helmstar King, so a little bit of more safety for those fireball rooms.
So still missing the ice rod at this point.
So Pod was an absolute bust. And then the one thing that it will allow is whenever Melphys does decide to go over there, Pyramid Fairy will be open.
So East Dark Death Mountain also doesn't have the ice rod. I mean, Pyramid Fairy looking really good at this point, or maybe Misery Mire. But I also think we didn't see a Spike Cave check yet.
No, but I do like how Melphys is routing this right now. He's gonna be going for Spiral Cave into Paradox Cave and then bomb jump back over to get into the portal to go right back for Spike Cave. It's very unique based on his way he's routing in Turtle Rock, but I like it.
Yeah, it's definitely smart doing that. I'm a bit surprised that Schaaa goes up to Death Mountain at this point before going into either Ice Palace or checking the Maya area. I think he wasn't over there at all yet.
Well, it doesn't have the flute because it is an Ice Palace.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think what Schaaa has open is all of Turtle Rock except for Trinex. Has the Ice Palace play, and I don't think he has much else.
I think it's only right Spike Cave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm wondering if you're in Melphys' shoes and you get these boots and stuff right now. How are you feeling? Because this is something you could have gotten at like minute 15.
I think he's gonna feel behind at this point. Pretty sure about that. Because he's probably going to do like the King's Tomb, the Bonk Rocks check, and all of that stuff, and head into Maya after this. Or maybe do Pod.
Going from Link's house right now, and is going to run. Oh, I think I realized it had flute, so it's faster to flute.
Yeah, sometimes you forget about that.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us, you know.
I mean, who knows? Maybe Melphys played a couple of seeds already today, which were fluteless or something. Just happens. Yeah, he's gonna full clear Pod as well, which we already know doesn't have anything.
Yeah, that'll open Pyramid Fairy for Melphys. And that could have Ice Rod. And chat keeps continuing to bring up Ice Rod Ped. And I just want you all to know you are awful human beings. And you just want the worst for these runners. But I love you guys anyway.
I think at this point, this is still pretty much anyone's race, depending on where the Ice Rod is. Because I think Melphys won't be going up to Turtle Rock sometime soon, and maybe Schaaa decides to dip into it. So, yeah. That's gonna be interesting to see, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I think in Shaa's situation, probably since he's looking for flute as well, it would make more sense for him to completely full clear except for Trinex. Whereas in Melphys' location, just looking for the one item, you know, theoretically with the Dark Rooms, with the Ice Rod. So kind of to give a quick recap for anyone who's just joined this race, both of these runners had a bunch of progression early with like flippers, Titan's mitts on Zora Ledge, and getting pretty much access to all the medallions in Death Mountain like super early. And pretty much the difference right now is the Ice Palace play for Melphys giving him the flute, which is kind of the big next thing.
It looks like Shaa's playing it safe, not dipping into TR, which is also kind of a understandable decision. I would be surprised if he doesn't head into Ice at this point.
He's having a little bit of problem with the beetles in that room. Wanted to change it, so he goes to the back, but gets there anyway. And Schaaa is making that Ice Palace play right now, so this is gonna be good for him. He's gonna eventually get Pyramid Fairy access here very shortly.
It looks like both players will have the bonus crystals at around the same time. Maybe we can get a high five at the Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, that would be pretty neat, actually. You don't get to see that sync very often.
Especially if it's the other bonus crystal that's missing for each of these runners. And Melphys has to do a part in full darkness, because he didn't get that lamp, which Schaaa already found. So it will take him a bit longer to complete it.
Yeah, I mean, do you think Melphys is ever going to head over to Skullwoods at this point?
I don't think so, unless it's like his last location and Ice Rod is maybe still in there, or Ice Rod is on pad. I think we won't be seeing that on his side.
No, I have another question for you, Fine. If you were in Melphys' position, like after Pod, do you go Mire or do you go Desert Palace first?
I would definitely go into Mire first, because it's a crystal and you do some progression and you have to do it anyways. Maybe it's like a bad layout for go mode and you gotta clear all of it anyway, so I would just go for it.
Yeah, I think Desert versus Mire is one of the harder decisions in general, because since you kind of can get access to them at the same point, they both have the same amount of worth too, as far as items are concerned. Shaa's having a little bit of issues with the Ice Palace bomb jump right now. Can't does get that pixel right there. Was a little off of it, but does correct it. Very nice job.
And Melphys down to 2 hearts in the Palace of Darkness Dark Maze. He has to be careful, but I think he killed all the, what is it, the lizards yet?
Yeah,
Oh,
the
already.
Dodongos. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's on his way to Hammer Saw at this point. Maybe picks up right side if he didn't do it, but it looks like he did because the front door's still closed.
Interestingly enough, both Melphys. Oh my goodness, he took a hit right there from the bomb. Melphys and Schaaa, I think, routed Pod the exact same way, leaving these chests for last before Helmasaur King. Not a route you see very often, but definitely interesting that both runners opt for it.
I'm really curious to see what these runners do next after they complete their respective dungeon.
Yeah, man, it's like we've been route diverged for a long time here. They kind of reconverged at Swamp and then diverged again. But we've been having some weird setups like that in general. Is Melphys really not going to grab any of the hearts? Okay, I was to say, man, like, come on, you don't have the lamp. You need to. I know you're feeling strong right now, but like, dang.
I think he still has a fairy as well as the blue goo, so might have been fine without that. But I mean, there are 3 free hearts, so why not just grab them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would be really surprised if both of these runners decide against going into Maya or the desert area after that. Or maybe after the Pyramid Fairy.
Mm-hmm. All right, it looks like we're gonna be getting a cold stare fight again with Fighter Sword, just like Melphys had to do. Like it's a bit trolly to get that fire Master Sword on there when you only have to use Fire Rod.
But he's deciding to go for Hammer Stress for the last part of it. So he's just saving his blue goo he still has in the bottle. I mean, he might as well. He is on full heart, so why not just go for some Hammer Strats?
Okay, and finishing up Ice Palace right there, getting last item, the Master Sword, getting the crystal to kind of tie up almost with progression with Melphys. Melphys is about to finish right now, and they'll be almost synced with getting their same 5th crystal.
I think they're about equally with checks. I think Schaaa has only done a couple of more overworld checks, whereas Melphys already visited the Maya area and got that done. So they're pretty much even at this point. Alright, Shah's activating his flute first thing after the ice pad is clear, which is kind of understandable. So let's see, Melphys, where do you go next? It looks like Melphys is gonna turn in his mushroom first, and Shah's just standing around after activating his flute. I hope it's not a controller issue or something.
Oh man.
Oh,
Oh,
nice
there we
game.
go.
Alright.
I think was maybe thinking about it or updating his own tracker, possibly.
I was worried for a second there.
Yeah. All right, and look at this. They're both going to the Mire area. Neither of them are making the Pyramid Fairy play. Okay, well, if the ice rod's in here, both of these runners are going to be entering theoretical go mode. Because I don't want to say too much for Melphys. I don't know how comfortable he is with the Mire Dark Room.
Yeah.
But yeah, theoretical go mode for both these runners if Ice Rod is in here.
The Mire Dark Room is always a thing. It looks so easy when other people do it, but when you attempt it yourself, it's a mess every time.
Oh, Melphys getting a little bit trolled by that last Wizrobe right there. Does get it. And both runners should be going back and to the right. This is a pretty standard route for Mire.
They're almost synced up at this point. That's amazing to see after 1 hour and 22 minutes.
Yeah, man, this race is heating up. Oh, that looks so cool. They both dashed at the same time. Oh, this is sick.
Do you think we will see some additional weird gambles at some point? Or is it just like the traditional routing on both sides?
Oh, well, I mean, there's one item right there in the 5 rupees, but I think the one major gamble you can do, I mean, depending on where the big key location is to skip the fire rod vanilla big key chest location. That's always an interesting gamble. I've seen some people do it, but if you're trying to be thorough, you generally don't skip it.
But it looks like we got some divergence already. But both players only picking up the dungeon items, so...
And Melphys using powder to refill some health right now. Is going to be doing the compass chest over here. And yeah, it looks like Schaaa gets a tiny bit of an advantage with a little bit of better execution.
They're still within, like, I'd say 3 seconds of each other at this point.
Yeah, at tops.
Imagine Ice Rod being in Spy Cave all along.
Oh, man.
I think we haven't seen that yet.
Nope, we have not, because Melphys, after getting all of that stuff in Paradox Cave, opted, you know what? I'm not going to go out of my way for Spy Cave anymore.
I mean, how far behind would you feel if it was there all along? So...
And by the way, that Sank card is the second item over here in Mire's, so the big key, I believe, is going to be in the map location. which that's not very common.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see. I mean, in this case, both runners do want to see that actually, because they are looking for an item, so they know the other guy won't be able to, you know, go mode this as efficiently if they would like to. So that's not a bad thing, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Melphys, interestingly enough, going through the big chest room, even though Nose can't open it. So that was very, very interesting route from him. And Schaaa, because having the lantern is gonna not take the magic refill. But I would expect Melphys to.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense at this point. You don't... I mean, the dark room is as bad as it is already without, you know, without any light. You don't want to run out of magic from placing, you know, useless blocks all over the place.
And unfortunately, we're not going to get any of the new Mire tech called the spooky action glitch. Essentially, by either using block into a void or by adjusting your altitude position when you flute over to the Mire area, you can use the fire rod on certain sprites to make the switch flip. And it actually is very recent, just this last Monday. And I think they said it's going to save about 10 seconds in NMG, if I'm correct on that.
Yeah, that's about right. But
That's pretty major.
I didn't know they gave it a name already. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's one. There's a couple, but I think the one is either spooky action glitch or spooky action from a distance glitch. Oh, I just noticed Schaaa is running super low on arrows. He's gonna use the last two for Vidi himself.
And Melphys makes it through the first two rooms in the Mire Dark rooms, so that's a good job. I mean, typically the first room is the most difficult for everyone. Maybe this one where he's in right now is also kind of not most liked, I guess. I think he forgot to switch the...
Yeah.
Flip the switch, that's it.
All right, and Schaaa is heading into Desert Palace right now. And pretty much, what do we have left for location we haven't checked? We obviously talked about Spike Cave. We've got Desert Palace right now. And we've got everything past the first 3 chests of TR. We don't have the tablets. What was that?
The Pyramid Ferry.
Ah, Pyramid Ferry, yes.
And, of course, chat's favorite location, the pedestal, is also still open.
Oh, also, chat, thank you for reminding me. Mire Rod is also a name that some people have given it as well, which is actually a good one as well. And good job by Melphys getting through those dark rooms. So that's going to be the last really kind of key one for him before finding that ice rod.
So what do you think are these runners thinking right now, after still not finding the ice rod at this point, knowing your tournament life's on the line? And it's kind of like, there's no wrong decision at this point, but...
Oh boy, and with that, in Desert Palace, in the big chest, Schaaa has now officially entered Go mode. Oh baby. Well, there we have it.
Alright, so it looks like Schaaa actually made the exact right decision at this point. Let's just hope that Melphys does the same.
Alright. Alright, got the mirror out.
Come on, go into desert. He goes into desert. All right.
Okay, we're gonna have a race, boys and girls. And because Melphys actually did the first three, the first three chests in Turtle Rock, that's gonna give him a little bit of time to catch back up. And also a tiny thing, in case these runners don't run into the Tempered Sword at all, they do have silvers, and that is going to make the Ganon fight exponentially easier.
Yeah, although I think the second phase is like the worst with only the Master Sword. It just takes forever, especially when Ganon is like in weird positions.
Yeah, and they don't even have the cape to help him. All right, Schaaa going to the left-hand side, the Spike Room chest first. And is going to head over to the Roller Room number 1. So I think when Melphys gets this and then leaves, I think by the time he gets up there, it's going to be, I would say, about a 30-second difference, maybe 45.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Maybe like a minute. Yeah, I'm always amazed to see, like after an hour and a half of, I'd say that these runners also had a lot of divergence going on, and they still converge around T-Rock at this point. And they're like neck and neck, so that's just amazing to see every time.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the way this is going, as long as their execution in Turok is pretty similar, this could come down to a right or left side gamble. Like how the way you generally decide to route GT. Which I think is always kind of cool to see races that are that close.
Do you think any of these runners feel especially behind at this point, or are they both like confident?
Honestly, I think Schaaa might feel in an okay position. I think Melphys is going to feel more on the behind side, especially with those boots location. Like that, I mean, getting boots that late when it's been accessible for the previous 50 minutes is, that's never a good feeling. But I think Shaa's executed pretty well outside of the Eastern Palace death, which, without Lantern and that few hearts is understandable. But yeah, that's probably out if I was in their shoes.
I think both players, should feel kind of okay at this point. I mean, Melphys had to do everything lampless and obviously lost some time right there, and Schaaa, on the other side, I think he did a couple of more overworld checks. Like the Graveyard Ledge, for example, that Melphys didn't do, or the Skywoods check. So he might be thinking, alright, I did all this and it was for nothing. So he might feel behind. I don't know.
Oh man, Melphys having a little bit of problem with the chain chomps in that room, and accidentally, I think, pressed up when wanted to push the block, so had to take it a bit slower. So that's going to give a little extra time to Schaaa to keep extending a slight lead. And I will say, having the lamp is pretty nice for this room. Because whenever whenever I see people do it, Lampless, some people just like have a really awful time with it, even though it's a set pattern.
Yeah.
You can do it when it's like right inside of you, in front of you.
I mean, sometimes you even get off track with lights on, to be honest. You know, just like making a single weird input at some point and it just goes off rails. Melphys decides to skip the big chest, so that means he has to check Laser Bridge for an additional key, doesn't it?
Yes, that's correct. Because he's going to have to use the 1 here, and the next room was just a big 20. So, if I'm remembering it correctly.
Yeah, I think so as well. So which play do you like better? Would you go for the big chest in that case, so you can maybe skip out on Laser Bridge, or would you prefer to do Laser Bridge?
No, I generally wrap around for the big chest. It's worth it. It's a pretty high probability a key is going to be there.
Yeah, I also think it just makes it a bit safer. You know, like the vanilla big key chest could hold a key and the big chest, and then you just stand there and have nothing and have to reroute back to the big chest. And this way you will 100% get your, you know, access to Trinex.
Oh, Schaaa having to use that. I don't know if you saw it use the blue or the green, but I think yeah, that was a little spooky. Okay, because he was 1 hit away, so that is giving Melphys a little bit of time to kind of stay even.
I think it was the blue goo. I believe Schaaa didn't pick up the green one at all.
Oh, that's right. Schaaa never did. Yeah.
Yeah, also Laser Bridge not being a problem with the Mirror Shield. But of course, as it is always, the key is on the last possible chest, so that's just bad. Or maybe it's just as I said, and he has to go back. Alright, but he gets it, so alright.
Okay. So with that, Schaaa is heading up to Gan's Tower right now. We're not on speed gaming, so no official big key chess games. So, but please still get your guesses in. What is your guess going to be for today, Thalane?
I always go with the Firebar room, which is I think 8 or 12 if you do like the right side first. What's your guess?
I always go with number 11, as that's my lucky number. So it's generally the it's rando room if you go left side, and I believe it's the last one in the Alphos room if you go the right side.
Yeah.
All right, well, we just got 50 rupees at the start. Oh, and there it is. But you got to go back up. Hopefully Schaaa remembers the key. You need 1 key before you head up.
I was just about to say, sorry.
Yeah, no. There you go. So it's very important. I've seen people do that, and it is a really awful feeling. When you go up all the way, don't get bailed out by a key.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I hope for a late big key just to give Melphys some more time to catch up and have a, you know, longer race, watch these rounds a little bit more. Because I think they've been putting on a decent show so far.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree. All right, Melphys has to be a bit careful right here. Is not taking the hammer out, so a couple extra swipes, but does get Trinex down, and he's going to get his 7th crystal here. And we'll hopefully go right side first to get that big key, and then promptly pick up the small key. But I think right now what's giving Schaaa a lead is that lamp is kind of giving him a little bit of an extra lead.
And also the early boosts he got. That's the, you know, that might feel bad for Melphys after the race when he rewatches it and he figures out, all right, my opponent got the boots at what was it, like minute 20?
Yeah, like
something around that.
Maybe right after minute 20. It was pretty early. All right,
yeah.
Schaaa is making quick work of these gauntlet rooms right here. Opting to use fire shots in that fire room, which is in that ice room, which is totally understandable.
And luckily Melphys goes to the right side as well, so he finds the big key as fast as Schaaa did. Probably heading over to grab a small key as well, and heading up to Aga 2 as well. Not too far behind Schaaa.
No, I'd say probably... I'd probably say about a minute and a half to a minute 45.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I think this just comes down to, you know, either a Master Sword Ganon execution or maybe even a fall, which I don't hope will happen.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it'd be crazy for Schaaa not to check these last 4 chests.
Yeah, I think everyone would do at this point. You know, just get this extra sword maybe. Just makes it so much easier on Ganon.
All right, nice lantern lighting room from Schaaa right there is gonna pick up, you know, without half magic, has to pick up that full magic decanter. And since only have 1 key, just needs to kill these 2 Helmosaurs. Or, well, one of them. There's the shovel. And 5 bomb capacity upgrade, so no sword quite yet. Although, you know, you could always, you know, kill Aga 2, go check the shovel spot and run back. But that's probably not worth it at this point.
Yeah, I think we will not see that.
Probably not. I mean, I'll go out on a limb and say they won't do that.
But he decides to skip on that chest. I just hope for sure that that's not a sword.
Oh man,
that would be rough.
I've personally gotten burned by that between a butter versus tempered, and that actually made the difference in my week 1 race.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to have that happen.
No. Okay, well, it looks like it's going to be Master Sword, at least on Aga. And Shaa's probably just going to opt to go into it afterward, into the Ganon fight. Okay, Melphys is gonna use powder in this room, so it's gonna get different spawn timing for these land mollusks.
And only barely misses the shot on the last land mollusk. But gets it done in the 2nd cycle. I think Schaaa got a 2 cycle as well.
I believe you're correct. Shaa's working through Aga 2 right now, I think. Yep, just needed 2 right there on that one. So we're going to be frying up some bacon here very shortly on Shaa's side.
I'm excited to see some Master Sword Ganon. You know, maybe it would be actually exciting to see the tempered sword in that chest before... what's it called? Moldon 2, yeah.
Yeah, if it is, that's gonna make this race exceedingly close.
I think Shaa's deciding to buy additional potions. That's what it looks like. Or maybe he's digging up the shovel item. Maybe you were right all along.
Oh man. No, just gonna get a potion, it looks like. Oh, this is gonna give Melphys some time to catch up right here, because Melphys, I believe, still has that potion.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not gonna see the shovel spot, unfortunately. Oh, just a big 20 in that chest. So not burning Schaaa right there. So we are indeed gonna get an even Master Sword duel right here.
So it all comes down to who's gonna be, used to doing that with only the Master Sword.
Oh man, that hammer hitbox was trolling Melphys a little bit right there. But he's going to be finishing up Moldarm 2. Shaa's starting off the Ganon fight right now. Has gotten, I think, 3 spins so far.
Get some nice spots on the bottom side at least. And this spot right there on the top right, that's what you want to see. So, but Shaa's not making good use of it.
To be fair, that spot's generally better when you're already on phase 2. Yeah, that would have been good, like right there.
Yeah.
All right. Melphys is heading through the Agfight. Ooh, does actually get that one right there. That was a really good play after getting hit by the first ball. All right, we're going to be getting synced up Ganon fights about a phase and a half apart from each other right here in a second. But Schaaa has indeed gone past the hard phase in the Master Sword fight.
Yeah, unless he falls, he's gonna be the winner of this race, I think. Or maybe he hugs Ganon a bit too much.
All of these teleports, man. Holy moly.
And yeah, Ganon, we found the arrows.
Alright, just one more hit for Schaaa. Oh, okay, that was a bit sketchy, but wasn't that close, and does get the 4th hit. That is going to be down with the big pig, and Shaa's going to come out of this with the victory. And that official SR TV time is going to be 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 29 seconds. GG to Schaaa, and keeping his bracket hopes alive at 4-2.
Yeah, GG's to Schaaa.
And really, just overall, want to reiterate again, what a great race from both these runners. I mean, they were both on the Ganon fight at the same time. In the end, the difference was the boots timing for Melphys and not having that lamp was definitely where in the late game it made a difference. Oh, interesting strat right there from Melphys. Let go of the fairy. And got the heal from it.
Hey, you don't see that too often. Just to save some extra time. Getting all these teleports as well.
Alright, I think Schaaa is in the waiting room for an interview. I'm gonna pull him in.
Alright, sounds good.
Yo, GG Schaaa.
Hey, thanks.
Thought you were in the waiting room. Hope you didn't mind me pulling you in.
No problem. That's why I joined. So.
Yeah, congrats on the victory though, man. How are you feeling after that?
I'm a little disappointed in myself that I went and bought potions. I'm always like, I think I'm underestimating myself a little bit with the Ganon fight at least, because I've actually been practicing Master Sword Silverless Ganon, and that's been going fine. So I don't know. I had silvers this time, and I went and bought bottles, or potions.
But you know, you're gonna play it safe. I mean,
yeah.
Can't blame you for that.
I don't know where Melphys is, if he was far behind or not, but
He just finished Ganon right now.
oh really?
Just got the 4th hit, and that's gonna be Melphys ending only about 3 minutes behind at 1 hour 52 minutes and 19 seconds. So GG to Melphys.
Yeah, GG to him. So that was kind of risky of me buying potions, but I mean, it's faster than dying if I would die. So yeah, I think my routing was decent this time. Better than it's most of the time. I'm really bad at routing. I was really happy when I found the ice rod in desert, and I was like, yay, I did something right. But,
Yeah, so we were just talking about it. What made the difference kind of was that you dipped into Skywoods and got the lamp pretty early. So Melphys had a little bit of trouble with the dark rooms. He didn't die, but it just took him a bit longer. And also you went to Death Mountain very early without the Moon Pearl. So you got the boots, I think, about at least 40 minutes before your opponent went up Death Mountain. He prolonged it for very long and didn't get
really?
the boots.
Oh. Yeah. I'm the dark room I died in. That's my least favorite dark room. It's not that hard getting the key, but like I did. But that other Igor, he just has it out for me. He hates me. I don't know. He just goes and kills me every time, and I just cannot figure out how to get to that pot you need to pick up. And yeah, it's just a bad room.
Hey, GG.
GG, Melphys.
Yeah, welcome to Melphys, man. GG. How are you feeling after that seed, buddy?
Feeling like I wasted too much time in dark rooms.
Yeah, that was actually so. When you go and watch it back, if you decide to do that, the two major things that made a difference was the boots timing, and then just you not having the lamp. The lamp ended up being in Skullwoods, and Schaaa got that a little bit after an hour in. If I remember correctly.
Wait, you never got the lamp at all?
No.
Oh wow.
I never dipped Skullwoods. But
like
yeah, that's a major factor if you got that. Because I wasted a lot of time in Mire.
Oh yeah, Mire one is one that takes a long time if you're not really good at it. I feel like
yeah.
I feel like dipping Skullwoods is kind of like something everyone does when they first get to Dark World.
Yeah, I just had so many locations available that I just felt like I would not do it.
Yeah, I put it off until I had checked a lot of things. I did Swamp Palace before I got the lamp, but and then when I got it, I thought, oh man, he has had the lamp for so long, and I didn't.
Psych.
Yeah. No, but yeah.
Another question too, like based on the other timing, like how are you feeling after the boots? Because that was something that like Schaaa got right away. Like as soon as you got like that whole combination of hookshot, Mire, and gloves, like by 20 minutes. How did you feel when you got it? After an hour.
I felt like I might have been ahead most of the seed, just because I assumed that neither of us got lamp. But I didn't feel like behind when I went to DM. I could have sequence break DM, but I felt like I had too many dungeons to do. Like I went to swamp and I went to ice, then yeah, got flute and ice I think, and then I went to DM. So it took me a while before I went there.
Yeah, I sequence broke and went up to Death Mountain, and when I found the boots, I was like, yes, I'm probably ahead now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And speaking of dungeons, I have a question for both of you guys. I'm gonna start with Schaaa. When, like, I think it was around the 1 hour and 10 minute mark, about kind of around that. You went up to Tower of Hera and checked the Dark Death Mountain instead of going into Ice Palace and maybe do like the Pyramid Ferry. What was on your mind when you decided to do that?
I was gonna go up to Death Mountain. If I found that ice road up there, I'm gonna do Turtle Rock immediately. If I don't, I'm gonna go down and do ice and see maybe if I can find stuff there. But I was looking for more more swords. I was still on fighter sword, so doing cold stare with fighter sword is not fun for me. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so on the other side, Melphys, when you went into Eastern Palace, we noticed that you didn't set up the mirror portal before going in there. So, did you just not do that because you didn't feel comfortable going into Paul without the lamp, or?
It's not so much that I didn't feel comfortable without the lamp. It's because when I went to Eastern, I think I was on 5 or maybe 6 hearts and green mail and fighter sword.
Yeah, alright, that makes sense.
So I felt a bit weak, and I didn't have bombos either to clear out the dark room. So I felt a bit weak, and it just it would have been risky in the dark room depending on the I'm not even sure what they're called, the dudes that throw fire.
Yeah, the I forgot, the Dodongos.
Yeah.
Alright, I think that's about all the questions I had.
Yeah, I think so the only last question I have is so Schaaa, now that you're at 4-2 now, you have one more week left to win to make it into the best of 3 elimination one. How are you feeling for next week and going up against the people that are 4-2?
I don't know. I'm carefully optimistic, I think. I think my routing is my worst skill in this. My routing is what needs the most work. So maybe if I can improve that thing or get lucky. I prefer just to get lucky and don't have to work too hard. But yeah, maybe I'll win. It will be fun to make it to brackets, but I'm happy just winning. I will have a winning record after this group stage, so I'm happy.
And kind of a similar question to you, Melphys. So now you're at 3-3. Are you at the point where you're meeting the expectations you had for the tournament? You're gonna try and go for the 4-3 next week?
Honestly, I think I've done decently this tournament. I definitely did beat my expectations. I have not been playing much Rando in the last couple of weeks, not to say months. And I started Rando a couple of months ago too, around the GDQ when we met.
Yeah, correct.
So yeah, I think just having a 500 record in the tournament is pretty cool.
That's great to hear, man. That's awesome. So yeah, so any more questions, Lane, or are you good?
I'm good.
All right, well, I think with that then, we're going to sign off for right now. So again, if you guys liked what you saw on screen, give these guys a follow. I think somebody, Synac was posting that earlier. Shout outs to Nale on the the tracking, Synac for restreaming, and again, Thalain, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to commentate with you today.
Yeah, I gotta agree. It was really fun.
And with that, we'll see you guys all later. Let me see what's going on right now on the other channels. And looks like in about 20 minutes on Speed Gaming 3, it's going to be DT versus Phoenix Down. So that'll be a really, really good matchup. And that's going to be with Big John and Sakura Tsubasa on comms. So that'll be happening here again in 20 minutes on Speed Gaming 3. So with that, we'll sign off for now, guys. And we'll see you all later.
All right, GG again. Thanks for commentating. Have a good one.
GG. Remember, the Earth is flat.
Yes.